Hello and welcome to Mentoring with Introverts. I am your host, Max Sloan, and today I shall be discussing about the communities of music practice and the impact it has on our identity. In this episode, I will be talking about my mentee, Reese Walters, a multi-instrumentalist with a keen interest in sound production. I will also be talking about my own experiences and how much I hate speaking to people and the challenges that come along with that. To start, I would like to highlight the personality traits of my mentee and the first impressions of when I met him. I have to admit, on my first week of meeting Reese, I was rather nervous about mentoring someone that expected so much from me in terms of providing enough experience and support for their objectives. However, after meeting Reese, I realised he was a lot like myself, introverted but polite and willing to learn and grow himself as a practitioner of the music industry. There was a lot of commonality between the community we shared and the music that was listened to, with genres such as metal and rock being primary. The first meeting took place on the 26th of October, and afterwards I did my best to try and get to know Reese a little better, understanding his career objectives, community, and the impact it had on his future. There were further meetings on the 2nd and the 16th of November, to which I learned a little more about my mentee before recording an interview on the 23rd. Before we move on to this interview, I would like to first discuss Reese's objectives and the steps we took to achieve them. The priority for Reese was to improve his sound production skills so that in the future he could potentially move into an environment where he could find full-time employment at a venue that supports live music. This was a challenge for myself, as I didn't have much production skills that I could effectively provide him. There were home recordings that I had reference to, but in all honesty, Reese knew more about sound production than I did. But on a positive note, Reese had taken an introduction course to sound production just before we met. This seemed to help him a lot in understanding more about his objective, so going further on this, I decided to do some research, finding out more about online courses that could potentially help him achieve his objective. I found out that the Open University had a couple of free online courses that offered sound technology and production learning in their categories. I presented this to Reese, and he seemed more than willing to check it out. The second option that I presented was to find more about professional courses outside of the UWS. I knew that Air College had one such course up to the level of HNC. Universities such as Napier and Glasgow were key places that I had suggested Reese for further analysis on what would be appropriate for his studies. To support his journey, I needed to let Reese know that this was not going to be a short-term objective. Reese, like myself, will need to put himself in situations that make him uncomfortable to a degree in which he can learn to adapt to his situations. This will also go hand in hand with pushing himself outside of his usual comfort zone, increasing his confidence and getting his image and his skills out there. I understand that the level of support I have given Reese is limited. However, despite this, I want to reference from Career Development International on Mentoring by Megginson and others, 2002, page 292. Through this book, I wanted to adopt the reversal theory method, whereby I find commonality with my mentee rather than just this focus on knowledge that I simply struggle to provide them. I think this was effective in truly motivating Reese to understand that he had to make the change on his own, rather than him seeing me as this almighty mentor and this know-it-all, but as a benchmark to his own success. Whether or not Reese sees me as successful or not, it doesn't matter, because he will gauge my development to what he needs to do in the future, whether he follows my path or he goes a different path. And with these thoughts in mind, I would like to move on to the interview and say a huge thank you for listening. This interview will include myself and my mentee talking about his objectives, his ambitions in detail, and of course, his identifiable community of music practice. Hello, this is a flash interview with Rhys Walters about his community of music practice and his future plans and objectives. I have a few questions for you, Rhys. If you don't know the answer, then don't worry. Just answer to the best of your abilities. Okay. So, question 1 is, as a multi-instrumentalist, can you tell me the instruments that you play and the style in which you play them?
Yeah, so I play a really wide range of instruments. I think my main go-to is guitar, but I played, bass guitar. I played double bass for 8 years in orchestra. I'd mess about on keyboard and piano and stuff like that as well. I just try and play whatever I can get my hands on, really.
Nice one. What orchestra did you play?
It was with the school. I used to go and do and get graded and stuff as well. For my double bass pieces as well. I'd go out to Edinburgh and stuff like that to get graded.
Oh, that's very interesting because I used to play the trombone in the wind band in secondary school. I got graded for that as well. I got to grade 5, but I didn't progress any further than that.
I think I got to about grade 4 or 5 as well.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of, I think that's the standard grade, isn't it? Where we kind of develop from there. But from that orchestra, you learned double bass, and then you expanded to other instruments. Or did you know other instruments while playing?
So I think I played guitar when I was really young, but then I kind of got sick of it. I stopped playing for a while, and then I was just focusing on double bass and that. And then after I'd played double bass, I was I think I want to move on to bass guitar now. And then that's what got me hooked on playing guitar and everything again.
Oh, interesting. See, I because the way I did it is I learned trombone, I got into higher education, then I started learning guitar, then I went back. Well, I didn't went back, but I started learning bass as well. Which if you know guitar, you can play bass. I mean, that's kind of the consensus, really. But no, that's really good. Amazing. What kind of genres do you like?
I think I enjoy a wide range of different genres. I mainly play kind of rock and metal and stuff like that, but it changes a lot. I kind of try and adapt to whoever I'm playing with. If I just try and play along. No,
I'm the same because I listen to a lot of metal and a lot of rock music as well. But sometimes I like to adapt to maybe a bit of prog as well, maybe some pop or even classical music. I like listening to. But your community is kind of all over the place. Do you most identify kind of with the rock genre?
Yeah.
Do you with other genres?
I think definitely I'm mostly into the metal genre. That's the most especially online communities and stuff like that. It's where I'm most active.
Okay, brilliant. And that's the one you like playing the most?
Yeah,
you enjoy playing the most, yes. Yeah. Okay. Have you gone back to any maybe classical music, back to playing maybe bass, double bass or?
Not really. I still sometimes listen to classical music and stuff like that, when I'm studying or reading or something like that, but I never really go back to playing it.
Yeah. Fair enough. So your community of practice, you'd say it's more rock, but you're open to going about, adapting to whatever band you're with or to whatever song you want to play. I mean, you're pretty easy in that, which is good. Adaptability and having the ease to go into any community is really useful. Are there any skills or attributes that you want to expand further, such as sound production skills or, we've discussed, confidence building?
I think definitely sound production as a whole is something that I'm always going out of my way to try and learn and try and improve on. I think especially recently, I like my singing ability and stuff like that as well as something that I've wanted to be I want to work on more. So yeah.
Have you looked at the courses I've suggested for you?
I was looking online at some more online short courses that I could look at, that I could do, as well as obviously my studies here.
Yeah.
So I think that would probably be beneficial.
I know at the college next door to us, they do a sound production course, but it only goes up to H&C. I think I told you this last time.
Yeah.
I think if you want to go perhaps maybe a bit further, I think you're looking at places such as maybe Glasgow or Edinburgh.
Yeah.
If you want some advanced sound production courses. But for a good start, definitely look into the H&C course at college, because they do quite a lot of good education there. Okay, so could you please describe to me what your short-term goals are from now to the summer? What do you want to develop most at?
I think my overall confidence in like working with other people and kind of interacting with other people more.
Having the exact same.
Yeah. I think especially with my live performance module, we've just been like thrown into bands of like people that like we've never spoken to before. And I think I've even it's been like 12 weeks or something like that, I think. And I think I've already come like a really long way from week one in my confidence and like collaborating with other people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What about stage performance?
I've never like performed in front of a crowd or anything before until a few weeks ago, because we had an assessment for live performance, where we had to like perform a song that we'd written in front of the class, and that was like my first experience like playing to a crowd. It was weird. I panicked a bit, but it was enjoyable after like I'd like got into it. Like after I just kind of zoned out and like I was just playing the music, it gets so much easier. It's
always the initial stages of getting on stage and singing that first note or playing that first note. It's just so nerve-wracking. Would you perform something here?
I think I would, yeah.
Like in the canteen, because me and the other mentors were speaking about maybe putting maybe like a little show together, maybe like an open mic night.
Yeah.
Obviously not at night, but like just a show in the canteen. To get the other mentees or the first years to speak with each other and to boost their confidence, really, to get them on stage and get them performing. Even just releasing a song on the internet, that's a massive step forward. So that's definitely something we could look into. I don't think it will happen this year, maybe next year, to get all the dates and all the kind of formalities confirmed. But my last question for you, Reese, is what are your long-term goals from now to perhaps maybe your future career in the industry? What's your ultimate kind of achievement? What's your ultimate goal that you want to strive toward? I
think the dream is like I want to be working in like live music. Like probably I want to be doing like live sound production and stuff like that for venues, but obviously I'd be happy with being a performer and everything as well, like even like session musician or anything like that. Just anything like music based is where I'd be happiest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I want to work in the live industry as well, but I want to kind of be an event coordinator. I understand that I'm quite a long way from being an event coordinator, so I take a lot of steps to get in there. Such as I'm in the process of at the moment joining the Army Reserve. The reason I'm doing that is to get my licenses, to get my HGV licenses and my B3 trade courses licenses. That's just so I can drive heavy goods vehicles and just kind of drive heavy goods vehicles in the industry, working with event companies and going places. That's kind of my foot in the door for the industry. I've also taken up photography, so I can go to gigs, take photos of bands, and just increase my network and kind of, I suppose, just see what how the industry works, basically. And sometimes doing these little like jobs may seem quite insignificant, but in reality, it's a foot in the door for you, and it's maybe something you could potentially do. Maybe doing something not similar, but something like that, where you're not entirely focusing on sound production, but you're in live music. It's definitely a way to get you forward in the process. But I think that's enough detail for now. Thank you, Reese.
No problem.
Have you any final thoughts?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, thank you again. That concludes the interview. Good luck in your future.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions about anything at all, then please don't hesitate to email me.
No problem. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.